All right, so I know after watching the video, some of you may be a little bit confused about archetypes. Archetypes are just patterns in literature and in behavioral patterns or science. So, kind of what we're looking at is the different types of characters that we encounter in the world and the different types of people that we encounter in the world. So, for instance, we hear a lot about heroes. Heroes are people who are going to show strength, courage, stamina. They have like faith in humanity, faith in a god, faith in a belief system. But oftentimes they struggle maybe with arrogance, or they have delusions of grandeur where they think they're better than they actually are. So I think Iron Man is a pretty good example of this. But Iron Man and Captain America are both heroes. Now they both have conflict, definitely, as we see in Civil War and in other movies. But the major parts of their character are similar. They both rely on strength and courage to overcome their enemies. Now, when it comes to children's literature, when it comes to Pixar, when it comes to Disney stories, we see a lot of innocent characters that are open to new experiences. They trust, they are very honest. Think the girl from Monsters Inc., Boo. Boo is a very innocent character. She sort of follows around Mike and Sully, and that sort of causes a lot of issues for them, but ultimately speaking, her main character is summed up in the fact that she trusts people very willingly. And sometimes that works out well, and sometimes it doesn't. Jester is one that's sort of interesting. So jester is an old term, but jester is someone who relies on humor, originality, and irreverence. And irreverence is someone who doesn't really play by the rules, doesn't really care what other people think. And so a jester, that could be someone like the Joker in Batman, someone who's cruel, they're misunderstood, they're not particularly good people, but they do have this sort of element of them that they are funny, they are interesting, they use their humor to um, characterize themselves, right? And so Tom Sawyer, who we're going to be reading later this week, is a jester. He's a character who relies on humor, he relies on originality, he relies on irreverence, and he uses these things to get what he wants. Okay, so he's also going to be a rebel, right? He's going to be a rebel because he is risk-taking, he is a very individualist person, and so you see these sort of patterns that they can be two of these archetypes. And each character is going to fall in line in more than one of these, typically speaking, but they're going to rely more on one than the other. And so for Tom Sawyer, he relies on trickster. He likes to trick people into doing work for him. He likes to trick his parents or his aunt into thinking that he is doing all that he needs to be doing. And so characters are a mixture of these things. Okay? And so then as you sort of go through, what I'm asking you to do in this assignment is I'm asking you to go through and look at patterns that you are familiar with, right? So we've not covered superhero. Superhero is not one of these 12 ones that we have up here, but superhero is definitely a pattern that's in culture now. And I see so some people have already done some really, really great ones down here. And I'm also not just looking for characters, I'm also looking for behavioral patterns. One thing that I've noticed a lot, I've been watching Stranger Things, is when characters do bad things happen to them, right? So in season 1, the character makes a really poor choice to go to a house party when they're not supposed to and lie to their parents, and one of their friends goes along with them to this party to try to look out for her, but she's still going along with something that she knows she shouldn't be doing. And so in this case, well, something really bad happens to her friend, right? So bad things happen when you make bad choices. That's a pattern that encounters a lot in literature, but particularly in this series, Stranger Things. So as you know, I'm excited to kind of jump in here and show you some of the stuff in here. I love this. I saw Angelina said if there's a villain, there's going to be a hero. That's really, really common, that if you see a bad guy, there's typically going to be a good guy to go along with them in some way. Anthony, I saw that he had said that communications between humans back then to now, and how some archetypes have similar patterns, right? So I think that's definitely true. I love that. Now I'd love to see a little bit more here in terms of what character-specific pattern do we see. Okay, so go through here and add in some information to you, and as you go through and you edit some other people's posts, please make sure that you are helping them improve and helping them get there. And also be interested to see where you think you fall in line with these. Do you feel like you are more of a caregiver to people, or do you feel like you are more of a citizen? There are always good things and bad things to each one, so it'd be interesting to see what you come up with. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Hopefully this video helps you out a little bit. Thank you.